In this digital media clip, we're going to look at a tool for challenging values and motivation called chunking. Chunking is a great concept which helps you understand the size of the goal or the issue the person is dealing with. And what you tend to find is when people are struggling to get motivated, it's because the chunk size they're thinking in is either overwhelming or underwhelming for their thinking style. So somebody who thinks big picture, when challenged to think in detail and come up with the plans, get overwhelmed by how much stuff they've got to do to achieve this great goal. Somebody who's into the detail and likes to know what they're supposed to be doing tomorrow doesn't want to know where they're going to be in 10 years' time. So chunking is an important tool when we look at goals, motivation, and values, because it helps us take the task and break it down into little chunks so we know where to start, or build it up into the big picture so we have an aspirational goal to aim for. So whenever we come up with a great goal, a great plan, a great vision, people are great at chunking down and finding all the reasons, all the little things that get in the way of us achieving that great vision. And the kind of questions that chunk people down are, so what's the problem? What happened? How does this affect you? Who said that? Where do we have to do this? They're all very much in the detail. And that's often one of our problems. We get so swamped by detail, we don't know where to start, or we forget where we're heading. And no surprise, when you look at behavioural profiles within the UK, we find low D, accommodating, middle of the road I, take or leave people, high S, small chunk size, steady, logical, methodical, with a slight flick down C, I might be in charge of my own destiny, but I don't really own it. Typical chunk down people. Chunking up challenges the way we naturally think. It stretches us out of our comfort zones and gets us to think bigger picture, based on the principle that the questions drive you to look upwards towards for what purpose, what is important about this activity, who will I become when I get this right. So chunking up questions tend to look at the bigger picture, which is much more motivational and inspirational, but often leaves us feeling a little overwhelmed. And that's the challenge with chunking up and down, making sure we're at the right level. Another part of the chunking tools is to chunk sideways. Chunking sideways is taking the issue to a different place where maybe there are a different set of solutions. So sideways allows us to ask questions like, what is this an example of? Where else could you do this? What would somebody else do in this situation? Now, everybody talks about getting people to think outside the box. The simplest tool I know for thinking outside the box is to combine chunking up or down as well as a sideways question. Because typically, if somebody's stuck in a problem place and you chunk up one level, for what purpose? Why do you do this? What will this do for you if you get it right? And then go sideways, is there another example of this anywhere else? And they come up with an alternate example, and then you chunk back down into detail. You come up with a solution that's outside their frame of thinking. It's outside the box. So chunking up one level, sideways one level, and back down puts you in the same problem state, but in a completely different place. Two tools which will assist you in the kind of questions you can ask when you're chunking are logical levels, looking at the level of the problem, looking at the environment level where it's probably small chunking in the detail, maybe up to behavior, a little bit higher. Capability, how did you learn that? That's a bigger chunk. Why is that important to you? That's up to values. How will you know when you've got that right? That's a belief level. Up to identity, who will you become as you get this right? And purpose, how will you use that in the wider context? You can see how you can use logical levels as a chunking tool. Or if, as a coach, you're more comfortable with your modeling excellence tool, the Icicle, you can use the Icicle to chunk up or down. So there are two very detailed chunking tools there, and when we're modeling excellence or reframing a problem, using either of those tools as a guide to our question set can help the person get over the hurdle.